discussion. Please. And for the others, yeah. What else? Hello, maybe we start now. And I repeat, the theme of this group is experience and alternative strategy our strategy of alternative development. And then we propose two things. One, to propose any strategy that you think is useful for alternative development. Another thing, we would like you to discuss the statement of drafted by the organizing committee, Ecological Civilization and Human Security. So this is only a small group, and then you can maybe we just have a brief introduction of yourself, and then we can let you express your opinion, right? Is this okay for you? Yeah. Maybe Faha, maybe you just briefly introduce 2 or 3 sentences, introduce yourself, and then you express your idea about strategy of alternative development. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen? Yeah, okay. Okay. All right, I'm Farhad Mazhar from Bangladesh. I actually work with an organization called Policy Research for Development Alternative. So, and also mainly the organization supports the popular movement or the people's movement, and to just phrase it is to contribute in the constitution of political subjectivity. That means really supporting the movement so that they can be more political movement. Okay. That takes me to, for example, when you say alternative development. So I would start with a critique of that. So maybe the development itself is, we only talk about it's always the capitalist development, with the way this category been constituted. So maybe when you say that people's strategy of resistance is not necessarily development in a very capitalist sense. So when they resist, they first of all, they challenges the existing development ideologies in their own countries, development policies in their own countries, and also the way the capital restructures their own economies. So that's, my first suggestion would be that maybe we should try to get out of the developmental discourse. So that I don't have any particular suggestion right now, but I'd like to hear my other comments very here. And with regard to this ecological civilization, I think it is very good. But I think that, why, for example, we should only talk about human security. The ecological civilization is not only about human security, because we criticize, if you remember, is an anthropomorphic conception. Ecology is not based on only putting the human being at the center. So ecological civilization also takes care of all the different kind of life forms, while human entities, the human beings, is only one of the entities in that particular kind of life form. So I will stop here, because I can compare later on with other people, and I can hear other comments. Okay? Okay. Then I can, I evaluate some chances.
And then, if you please sit at the front, and then we can have more trustees.
Thank you. Maybe I'm insisting too much. It's very important trying to address specific measures and specific mobilizers that could render real possibilities for alternative development. In different scenarios, if you have access to the government, to the local government, to the national government, if you have access to some institutionality, international institutionalities, NGOs, etc., but also if you have only to rely on grassroots organizations and the issue at the level of the popular economy. And in that sense, I think it's very important to have a consideration about the local, the domestic, the regional new financial architecture, not as the panacea, but as the premise, as the necessary, but not sufficient condition to go in further transformations. And that includes the gender dimension. The only way to make it possible to overcome only the horizon of good wishes in terms of women's exploitation is to create other ways to validate, of social validation of women's work, of women's efforts, of the family's efforts, including the children, because it's not only the women, it's the whole family, it's the whole community that is providing a huge systematic subsidy to capital. So in order to create real conditions to validate that type of effort, that type of social energy, we have to open the doors for local currencies, alternative currencies, local systems of circuits of payments, different mechanisms of popular economy financing. Otherwise, everything is supported exclusively for external inputs, donations and exosomatic interventions, including the participation of the NGOs or governmental programs. We need to rely on our own resources, on our own forces, and we need to build up power from the level of the community. Of course, that doesn't preclude the importance to build up also dimensions of sovereignty at the subnational level, local level, subnational level, national level, regional level.
Anyway, yeah, just come to the front. Speak up, okay?
Yeah, okay, so alternative development. First of all, we need to first think of examples, because we cannot discuss the theories out here of what could be alternates to development. And I think we're saying alternative to a neoliberal notion of development. We need to have some agreement on that. When we say alternative, then what do we mean by some alternative? I'm not also saying we have a definition and we all agree, but I suppose we're saying alternative to the neoliberal modes of development. So, what are some of the larger examples? Because also the scale is important. You could be doing it at, a community of 100 people level, at a level of 5 villages or township, county. So we need to have some idea about it, what level we're talking about. So my sense is, and I'm now being kind of more precise, are we talking something like the participatory budget of Porto Alegre, Rio Grande do Sul? Are we talking about the Kerala model of local governance, which takes all the decisions about how you would do everything within the panchayat, as we call it? So somewhere we need to make it very apparent that we are saying something much beyond a NGO project. You can do an NGO project which can be transitory for 1 or 2 years, then it may remain beyond the project or not, we don't know. So first of all, I think my suggestion would be that we think of something which is more permanent, which is not like a NGO project which is permanent, which has the local people. But this is where I think we need to have more precise understanding. There is a notion of alternative from the women's groups, from the indigenous groups, from the workers, from the middle class. So we need to have some consensus about which combines all of them. Otherwise we'll have fragmented alternatives. So, well, that's good, but then that's not what we're talking of, more something which integrates all sections of society. So my sense is that we can take of examples. Farhad is sitting here, and one of the biggest alternative agricultural programs probably in the world, which Farhad is doing in Bangladesh. So we have examples sitting here. There could be other examples sitting here. So that's one. We need to have that and use some of the examples to illustrate with whatever little consensus we have, because I'm sure people will also have reservations about each of these examples. But finally, to me the important question is, if we celebrate what has happened in Tunisia, what has happened in Egypt, liberation struggles of uprisings or not total revolutions, my question would be, can we use the transformation of these areas through international solidarity, also sites for doing something of an alternative kind, and establish that these changes that have taken place in these areas are not then a playground of neoliberal forces to hoist neoliberal development in these areas too? So are there possibilities at these sites with local groups through international solidarity to work towards developments of alternative, which may not be at a national scale, but which may be at a subnational scale, so that it can raise hopes that these are possible? So I'm saying sites other than some Asian sites and some Latin American sites where alternative thinking has been practiced, but create new sites in areas where new forms of democracy have been brought in through such valiant resistances. So my sense would be to look towards that kind of international solidarity. Who wants the mic? Otherwise I'll keep on speaking. No one. No takers. Okay, Mutu, one.
Well, I'm leaving soon, and so perhaps this paper, Ecological Civilization and Human Security, it's called discussion paper, but this may have some relevance to the discussion here. And so, in this this paper evoked in me a question whether we are talking in the name of nations or the people. And I think, given the nature of this gathering, we should mean people of the South. And here I'm from Japan, so maybe from the North. And here I'm referred to as social sector in the North. Maybe I'm from social sector in the North, but I am one of the people in Japan. And so it is in that capacity, and whether we are talking something to the world, to ourselves, in the name of nations of the South, or people in the South, that I think makes some difference, a great difference maybe. Of course, we have to address the international level issues, and the state, of course, matters. I'm not saying that the state has nothing to do with the fate of the people. It does. But there's some ambiguity about it. And so in the course of the discussion, I hope that that point is clarified.
So you have the same problem. Who's taking the mic from you?
Huh?
Someone is here at the back.
Voy a hablar en castellano. Yo pienso que la primera iniciativa que se dijo aquí es muy importante, determinar la escala de donde queremos intervenir. Si es local, regional, subnacional o internacional. Es un problema de delimitación del espacio de nuestra intervención, de nuestro trabajo. Y eso no es teoría, es delimitación de las posibilidades de una estrategia. La otra cuestión muy importante es determinar a qué mismo estamos llamando alternativo. Experiencia alternativa ¿a qué? ¿Al sistema capitalista? ¿Alternativo al modelo neoliberal? o simplemente alternativo a la política de gobierno que se tiene en ese momento en cada país. Según el tipo de alternativa que definamos, depende de ahí el proyecto, el programa y sobre todo los recursos, los aliados. Desde Ecuador estamos convencidos que se debe trabajar en las dos escalas. A nivel internacional, pensando una integración desde los pueblos, no desde el comercio, no desde el sistema financiero, sino una cooperación más directa entre asociaciones de productores campesinos, de productores artesanales. Es decir, generar otro tipo de relación comercial más justa, más equitativa. Y la otra alternativa que se tiene dentro de esta actividad es generar otro tipo de indicadores para saber de qué estamos hablando. No es posible continuar con los mismos indicadores de Naciones Unidas, del Fondo Monetario o del Banco Mundial. La pobreza en los Andes no es la misma que la pobreza en el África. Y hay indígenas en los Andes, en nuestras montañas, que viven con $70 en el año, pero su agricultura les ha permitido alimentarse y no depender del mercado. Y ellos nos dicen que se sienten millonarios sin tener tanto dinero, porque tienen el aire puro y la alimentación orgánica. Entonces no les podemos aplicar a estos campesinos la indicación del Banco Mundial de que son pobres porque tienen menos de $1 diario de ingreso. Me permito recordar aquí que cuando en América del Sur, en América Latina en general, luchábamos contra el ALCA, contra el compromiso de libre mercado, un indicador que nos decían de Estados Unidos era que teníamos que salir del nivel de ingreso de $2 diarios que se tenía como promedio. En esa misma época, los Estados Unidos tenían como subsidio a los agricultores norteamericanos de $2 diarios por cada vaca. Entonces nosotros tenemos que redimensionar los indicadores. ¿A qué mismo le estamos llamando pobreza según nuestras características étnicas, de género, de edad? Y me permito recomendar que para salir de una visión muy sectorial, de una fragmentación, miremos los problemas étnicos, los problemas de las mujeres, los problemas de los jóvenes, los problemas de los adultos mayores como ejes transversales, no como especificidades aisladas. Y entonces, si pensamos la vivienda, pensemos con esos ejes transversales. Si pensamos la agricultura, pensemos con esos ejes transversales. Entonces hacemos integración con una visión holística. Es lo que tratamos de intentar hacerlo en Ecuador con la participación del movimiento indígena en la redefinición de gobiernos autónomos en donde se practique